According to multiple reports, the grand stage for China to become the world's largest luxury market has already been set, and even more impressively, it's estimated that it will happen by the year 2025. However, beneath the surface, ranging from external to internal factors, some things are already at play that could drastically derail that estimate. Here lies the burning question: what exactly is stopping China from reaching that peak? For starters, Shanghai is not just like the average city you can randomly pick out. The bursting population in that city alone is comparable to that of the entire continent of Australia, and its GDP exceeds that of Belgium. It is said to be the hub of the consumption of luxury wares in China, where virtually all of the world's leading luxury brands have their Chinese flagship stores. Based on a lot of impressive estimates from various consultancy firms as well as news broadcasts, it is widely believed that China is set to become not just one of the world's largest luxury markets, but actually the largest by 2025. A report from the Global Times says that in the pandemic year of 2020, the luxury sales in China drastically increased by up to 48%, which amounted to an estimated $54 billion. Also, a report from Statista highlighted that in 2021, up to $43.5 million was amounted to the revenue of the luxury goods market in China. It is also important to note that annually, values of about 6.63% are expected to grow in the market. According to Bain's China Luxury Report in 2021, the domestic sales of personal luxury goods in the mainland of China notched up an astronomical 36% annual increase, amounting to values of $74.4 billion in 2021. To put things into perspective, the figure of sales actually almost doubled when compared to that of 2019. Also, so many different luxury goods categories had massive market growth. As a matter of fact, the category of leather products in particular was the fastest growing, and it had a positive growth rate of about 60%. After that were fashion clothes and then jewelry, respectively. In the same report, it was stated that the offshore duty-free shopping in the southern Chinese island province of Hainan had boosted the country's luxury market. To be fair, while all of these figures are really quite impressive, the United States of America remains the leader of the global luxury market. In 2021, revenues from the luxury goods market alone amounted in $71.3 million in the United States. In turn, that has left many to keep asking the burning question: what exactly could prevent China from blitzing past the United States of America to become the largest luxury market in the world, bar none? Well, here are some of the current plagues and obstacles that could potentially slow down or even completely derail China from its path towards total domination of the luxury market scene globally. One of the reasons that could prevent China's quest is the crackdown from the government. Many luxury brands in China would most certainly remember the anti-corruption campaign drafted by President Xi Jinping, which forced many officials to embrace a more frugal lifestyle while still sending shockwaves wide and far across the scenes of the international luxury industry. In the years that followed, luxury and even premium brands faced a sharp and steady decline in sales, especially in products like expensive cognacs, suits, tuxedos, and luxury wristwatches. However, China's communist policies, or dare to be said, common prosperity policies, may be problematic. It serves as a new government crackdown from the President Jinping, which could more than possibly cause a similar effect. The luxury brands should be aware of this and begin planning to avoid it by preparing for direct taxes on luxury goods, additional local levies, upcoming tax reform, and levies as well. Some analysts from the China International Capital Corp said that luxury goods that use high energy or generate significant pollution will have to pay higher taxes. Another big problem that may actually arise for China is the economic slowdown and property crisis. The spread of the economic variants of the pandemic has actually further exacerbated a couple of economic issues. As a matter of fact, even before the Omicron threat, there were numerous amounts of data that showed there were troubling signs ahead for China in their economic sectors. The National Bureau of Statistics issued a critical statement in October 2021 stating that China's GDP for the third quarter of that year only increased by 4.9% over the previous year. In addition to that, the country has been struggling to overcome the ongoing challenges it has been currently plagued with, such as shipping disruptions, power shortages, property crises, supply chain problems, and even blackouts that have shut down factories across the country and halted an amount of production which would have had a positive impact on the economy in question. The rise of domestic brands, if not carefully considered, can jeopardize the luxury brands in China as well. In recent times, the younger generation of customers in China has gradually started to look into the domestic brands market. A report was jointly issued by an institution under People. CN and Baidu showed how Chinese customers, especially the younger ones, have generally shown interest in the domestic goods available. Compared to a decade ago, these consumer interests have risen by an astronomical 528%. The recent embrace of traditional elements like Hanfu, as well as other trends in the ever-advancing nation of China, like the China chic, just further buttresses the narrative that a lot of users are starting to adore the native brands. Even the industries that, in layman's terms, seemed safe from local competitors, like luxury cars, the sentiment among Gen Z of late has increasingly moved towards local names like Xpeng or Neo. A chief reason widely believed in making this happen is that nationalism at the grassroots level seemingly pushes local consumers to embrace homemade brands. Another factor at hand is the recent and perhaps even sudden changes in tastes and buying behaviors of Chinese consumers. In so many countries, the pandemic totally transformed buying habits and patterns in consumption at a global level. Alas, in China, even before the pandemic came to fruition, there was already a change that went underway, with consumers starting to be more conscious, just like a caterpillar and a pupae finally emerging to be a butterfly. At the heart of these changes in mannerism lay a never-before-seen kind of consumer. The new category of consumerism led to the rapidly increasing interest in sustainability and even having personal priorities. Although most retailers of luxury wares were a bit slow to hop on the resale train, China-based consumers clung on to re-commerce and cyclical economic practices. In the foreseeable future, luxury brands will surely need to partner with sites that mainly handle resale to promote their products on peer-to-peer second-hand web pages if they want to maintain market dominance. The fifth reason that could prevent China from surpassing the might of the United States of America on the luxury market scene is the rise of some new luxury status symbols. In China, the middle class has been ever growing, and in trades, it continually looks to keep going up. This only means that the new luxury categories available have gained quite an impressive amount of momentum. Let's make this more practical. Did you know that most of the consumers across the middle class category in China no longer view luxury bags like the Hermes Himalaya Birkin bag to be the ultimate symbol of sophisticated class and symbol? In recent times, they would rather invest in other things on their list of priorities like healthcare, education, hobbies, and hey, even elite sports is more popular in China, like squash, polo, lawn tennis, and croquet. A massive chunk of the switch is that the youngest customers don't just see luxury products as a status symbol, but rather more of an expression of self. The luxury brands are well aware of this, as they can no longer turn their gaze away from the rise of these new status symbols that challenge what they stand for. The intrinsic value of being the ultimate symbol of status that everyone craves, as these new status symbols can even cause or trigger significant losses in the luxury brand's revenue and generally jeopardize their market positions. By simple logic, a lesser amount of sales and reductions in the growth of revenue from these new symbols and other trends could stop China's quest from becoming the world's largest luxury market in the future. Here's another point that could derail things. In China, so many luxury brands evolved over the span of the last 5 to 10 years. They went from manufacturers to retailers, and even more so with the rise of e-commerce. The digitally native Gen Z resonates with the social world, and quite pressingly, in order for these luxury brands to maintain their relevance to them, they must create or make available social platforms to curate brand communities and be effective cultural influencers. To be fair, China was never an accessible market for luxury wares, and coupled with the complexity of successfully connecting with Gen Z, they may have to really put a lot of effort into maintaining their status quo. In addition to the multiple problems that the China luxury market faces, geopolitics now poses a very major danger to the operations of foreign brands on the Chinese mainland for the first time in a very long time. Over recent months, the world has watched the happenings in Russia, and due to the war in and with Ukraine, they have had to make sudden exits, which simply show just how fast entire markets can be lost. There is already a lot of tension in Southeast Asia, and if China's ambitions with Hong Kong and Taiwan escalate, the high dependency of luxury brands on China can be plagued.